somewhere just off the Iranian-Iraqi border. The plane touched down on what could barely be called a runway, little more than a long, well-packed strip of dirt. After disembarking, Mia and Dr. Hayden were met by Derek Jensen and a small escort team, all clad in full desert camouflage. 3 vehicles waited, 2 military-style HMMWVs, and what looked like an Iranian version of the old American deuce-and-a-half personnel carrier. Hayden and Mia were guided up into the back of the deuce-and-a-half, settling onto the long bench seats. Derek barked instructions to the lead vehicle, then climbed in with them. "Sir," Derek said as he dropped into the seat across from Hayden, "I hope you don't mind riding back here. We use these older vehicles for transport. It helps us blend in." He pulled a canteen from his load-bearing gear and held it out. "You'll want a swig. Gets pretty dusty back here." Hayden accepted it first, then passed it to Mia. From the look on her face, she wasn't enjoying this trip nearly as much as he was. The diesel engine roared to life, and the truck jolted forward. Mia unscrewed the cap, raised the canteen, and promptly managed to splash half of it down her face and neck as the vehicle bounced along the dirt track. She coughed, tugging at her blouse to stop the cold trickle that ran down her chest, her displeasure obvious. Hayden leaned forward, raising his voice above the grinding engine. "No problem. The vehicle is what it is. But tell me, where exactly are we?" Derek cupped his hands and shouted back, "Allow me to be the first to welcome you to Iran, sir." He gestured toward the open tailgate. "Normally we'd close the back, but at night there's no real danger of being seen." Mia and Hayden turned to look out into the desert. The view stretched for miles, rolling sand dunes bathed in silvery moonlight. Hayden eventually looked back at Derek, but Mia stayed transfixed, her wide eyes reflecting the surreal glow of the landscape. "So," Hayden called out, "how long till we reach the facility?" "About 30 minutes, Derek replied, leaning closer so he wouldn't have to shout. "Your office is ready and quarters as well, sir." "Good. Is there anything urgent on tonight's agenda?" "No, sir. Nothing pressing. The office staff assumed you'd want rest after the flight, so the meeting with the department heads is set for tomorrow afternoon." "Perfect," Hayden nodded. "Then food and sleep sound about right." Derek lifted his radio. "Give me a moment, sir. I'll patch through to the dining facility. Any requests?" Hayden turned toward Mia, who was still lost in the beauty of the moonlit desert. He laid a hand on her shoulder, gently pulling her attention back. "Mia, did you hear that?" She blinked, half smiling. "Sorry, sir. My God, it's beautiful, isn't it?" She tried to glance back toward the open tailgate, but Hayden kept her facing him. "They're asking what you want for dinner." "Oh, whatever you're having is fine," she said over the roar of the engine. "But please let them know I like vinaigrette with my salad." Hayden gave a small nod and turned back. Derek passed him the radio with a grin. "Hold the button on the side, the head chef's listening." Hayden placed the order, then handed the handset back. Leaning against the rattling metal wall, he let his gaze drift once more to the endless desert night as the convoy rumbled deeper into the sands. They were awoken at 5 the next morning by Melinda Stone, the office manager of the facility. She apologized for the early hour, but insisted they had a big day ahead, and that the breakfast she'd arranged with the office staff was not to be missed. At 47, Melinda Stone looked every bit the perfect office manager. Her shoulder-length brown hair, usually pinned up neatly, framed a face that was professional rather than glamorous. Short in stature, just over 5 feet tall, and full-bodied, she was no beauty queen, but she carried herself with a quiet authority that made her presence felt. Her background reflected that same drive. With a degree in business management and a minor in political science, she had spent a dozen years running political campaigns, always with skill and efficiency. But she soon realized the work left her hollow, sinking into deep funks once the campaigns ended, no matter whether her candidate won or lost. It wasn't until Elizabeth Hayden introduced her to the Foundation's board that Melinda found her true calling. By the end of her interview, board members were answering her questions with "Yes, ma'am," and "No, ma'am." No doubt at all they'd found the right woman to run their operations. Since then, Melinda had become the organizational backbone of the Foundation, efficient, precise, and unstoppable. The kind of person no one could say no to, and the kind of leader who simply got things done. When Hayden arrived at the dining hall, he was immediately waved over by Mia, who was already seated with the staff. 3 tables had been pulled together to accommodate everyone, and a place at the head of the table had been saved for him. Hayden wasn't fond of large groups, even 11 people felt like a crowd, but he forced a polite smile and took his seat. As soon as he sat down, the group of women chimed in unison with a cheerful, "Good morning." It almost made him laugh. For a moment, he thought if they'd just keep talking in unison, this might not be so bad. But the illusion ended quickly as they broke into overlapping conversations about everything from office memos to makeup choices. Mia, seated beside Melinda, shot him a knowing smile and the faintest shrug before turning back to her own conversation. Hayden did his best to follow along, but the chatter moved faster than he could process. His attention perked up when he caught mention of the media coverage surrounding the wellness program, the flood of testimonial videos spreading across the internet. Eager to join in, he hurriedly chewed his food, but by the time he swallowed, the topic had already shifted to the physical charms of the massage therapist in the gym downstairs. He tried twice more to redirect the conversation back to the news, but no one seemed to notice except Mia, who met his attempts with a bemused look. Eventually, Hayden gave up, silently resolving to catch the news on the television in his office after breakfast. He finished his meal in relative silence, nodding now and then as if he were part of whatever topic was flying around the table. Afterward, Melinda led them on a brisk tour of the administrative wing, introducing Hayden and Mia to nearly everyone they passed. She rattled off details with the efficiency of a well-rehearsed script, how to make secure calls, how to log into the facility server, even the hours of the gym. Mia listened attentively, though she could see from Hayden's face that little of it was sinking in. His expression was distant, thoughtful, his thinking cap on, rather than his listening ears, as she put it to herself. The thought made her smile inwardly. When Melinda finally concluded her tour, she handed them their office keys and reminded them she was always just a call away. Mia lingered at Hayden's side as he stared at the closed office door, lost in thought. Finally, she nudged him. "Sir, we can go in now." He blinked, almost startled. "Oh, good. I take it she's done, then?" "Yes, she's done," Mia said, following him inside. "Though you really should have paid attention, sir. A lot of what she covered was rather important." "I'm sure it was all Hayden said as he stepped through the doorway, his eyes sweeping across his new office. It was impressive. The room had been set up with almost anything one could want. A polished wooden desk with a built-in touchscreen, a burgundy leather captain's chair, and a matching sofa and love seat. Phones, copiers, faxes, and all the usual office gear were neatly in place. Plants filled every corner, lush greenery and even a few dwarf trees, bringing life into the space. Mia, trailing behind, gave the room a thorough once-over, silently impressed. If her office was even half this nice, she thought she'd be more than satisfied. Hayden, however, wasted no time. After one quick glance around, he sat down at his desk and tapped the touchscreen, watching the interface light up before shutting it down again. Then he began rifling through the desk drawers. Mia, recognizing immediately what he was looking for, picked up the remote control resting on an end table near the sofa. She strolled over and held it up, a teasing glint in her eyes. "Excuse me, sir? What exactly are you looking for?" Hayden didn't glance up. He simply raised his arm and pointed toward the back wall, where 8 massive flat-screen monitors were mounted. "Oh, I see. Looking for the channel guide?" she asked playfully. "No," he said sharply, stopping his search. But the irritation on his face vanished as soon as he saw the remote inches from his nose. Mia clicked the power button and the wall of monitors blinked to life. Hayden's attention shifted instantly, his expression softening. She patted him on the shoulder. "I'll let you figure out how to change all the channels," she said warmly, placing the remote in his hand. He grinned like a boy with a brand new toy. "Thank you." Within moments, he was scrolling through multiple news feeds, arranging live broadcasts across the screens. Confident she'd lost him to the wall of glowing monitors, Mia slipped out to explore her own office. But less than a minute later, the door banged open, and she burst back in. Hayden shot up from his chair instinctively, startled enough to brace himself as though preparing for an attack. She stopped just inside the doorway, breathless with excitement, arms extended, palms up, her face flushed with adrenaline. "Oh my God. You have to see my office, sir." Hayden arched a brow, trying to match her enthusiasm. "And just what about your office do I need to see, Mia?" "Sir, you don't understand. You have to see it to believe it." "See what exactly? Your office? Is something wrong with it?" He smirked, enjoying himself at her expense. "No, not wrong. It's perfect. It's bigger than this one, and the shelves, columns of shelves, 9 rows high, filled with law books. Thousands of them, sir." Hayden chuckled. "And why, Mia, would I need to see it? When I give you work to do I need to look over your shoulder to know it'll be done?" Her face shifted from delight to stunned surprise. Then, overcome, she rushed forward, throwing her arms around him, repeating, "Thank you," again and again. He patted her back, smiling. "I know most of that material is probably online these days, but there's something about holding a real book in your hands. I thought you'd appreciate it." "Exactly, sir," she said, pulling back, her eyes shining. "You're right. I can't thank you enough." "Well, don't just thank me. Send a note to Liz as well. It was as much her idea as mine." He gently turned her toward the door, eager to get back to his screens. "Of course, sir. And don't forget, we've got that meeting with the team leaders at 2. "I won't forget," he replied with a quick smile, "especially if you remind me at lunch." "I will, sir," Mia promised, then slipped out. Left alone, Hayden leaned back in his chair, eyes fixed on the unfolding news. The coverage had shifted. Reports of the pandemic and its death tolls were still rolling in, but now the focus was squarely on the foundation. Hundreds of thousands of videos had gone viral, spreading like wildfire, people claiming they'd been cured within hours of receiving the vaccine. At first, Hayden thought this was simply fallout from Michelle Lee's broadcast the night before, but unease crept in as live footage poured across the screens. Reporters worldwide were interviewing clinic patients, each one echoing the same story. "I feel better already." Aerial shots revealed lines snaking for miles, growing longer by the hour. Hayden pressed the intercom button on his desk phone. "Mia?" Her voice came crisply over the speaker. "Yes, sir?" "Yes, I need you to do me a favor." He paused, struggling to find the words. For so long, he'd relied on her uncanny ability to read his expressions over video, finishing his sentences before he'd even spoken. Speaking without that connection suddenly felt clumsy. "Sir?" Mia prompted. "I'm thinking," he muttered. "Of course, sir." Finally, he asked, "Is there any way we could teleconference right now?" Her voice brightened. "Yes, sir. Just press the VD button on the base of the phone." Hayden glanced down, pressed the button, and almost instantly, his desk touchscreen rose vertically. Mia's face appeared in the corner, crisp and clear. "Ah, much better," Hayden murmured. "Nifty, isn't it?" she teased with a smile. "Yeah, I should say so," he replied, leaning closer as he scrolled through the contacts list. "I wonder who all is on here." "If you want to interact with the system," Mia said, "just say, 'Keyboard up.'" "Keyboard up," Hayden commanded, louder than necessary. At once, a glowing holographic keyboard and mouse projection appeared across the surface of his desk, keys shimmering under his fingertips. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel for more in this series and many other stories we know you'll love. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss an update.